Humongous what?
Humongous what? Is that sexual harassment? Is that what you...
That's not how you open a can of pickles. You have to pop it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to pop it.
Hillary Clinton. I will be voting for Hillary Clinton.
We need to build a wall.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Middle Minded. I'm Christian.
I'm Alex.
Welcome to Middle Minded, the only place that you need to go to get an accurate representation of not the left or not the right, but a middle perspective on current social issues, political happenings, maybe ethical and philosophical stuff. We haven't really decided yet. But
yeah, that to be decided. We'll probably get into that kind of stuff eventually, if it comes up. Yeah,
we're really new right now, so we're sort of trying to find our niche and what we really want to focus on. Part of the good thing about being new is that we really don't have to focus on a lot of stuff, but you can guarantee almost that we're going to talk about something somewhat current.
I think it may not necessarily strictly always be politics, but more just controversy. We'll probably mainly stay in the politic area, but of course we're open to suggestions, especially from you guys.
Mm-hmm. You can find us on YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, SoundCloud, and finally, iTunes. We finally got approved. If you guys could go over there, actually go anywhere, and leave us a 5-star rating or a rating, a comment, a like, a subscribe. All of those help us out enormously. It gets us on that new and noteworthy page for YouTube, as well as, just sort of gets us out there. And that's what we really want to do. This one, again, is sort of a controversial and, I guess, trending issue. This happened earlier this week, and so we felt like we should also sort of talk about it. I've actually heard about this in 2 classes of mine. We talked about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so...
It's not been brought up in any of my classes.
Well, your classes might not be brought up in, but Chinese.
Math.
Do you sort of want to go over it first? Or?
Yeah, I'll introduce the topic. So today we're discussing this is where the guy who got dragged off the plane. The particular video, or the particular article we decided to focus on, I guess, we're going to use more, but the main article is called United Grapples with PR Crisis Over Videos of Man Being Dragged Off Plane. Now that's just kind of the article we found first that we went over, but we do have another article and a YouTube video that we're gonna look at.
Yeah, of course, everything is always going to be in the description if you want to read some of these yourself. I found another article, and we're also going to be talking about United Airlines statements afterwards, because I feel like those are pretty important as well. Basic facts of the case, I guess. So one thing that a lot of articles don't actually mention, and I actually heard this through 2 different YouTube videos I watched of just like YouTubers I watch every day, who they were also talking about it. But basically, what happened is United Airlines and all other airlines do this as well. Like, this is actually a standard practice, and there's a law. There's United States law that backs this up. So they are legally allowed to do this. And basically what they do is they sell more seats than there are available on a flight. So let's say that there's 40 seats on a flight. They'll instead sell like 50 tickets. Okay? Because most of the time, not everybody shows up and gets a seat. All right? Well, on this particular flight, they actually wanted to send some of their crew members to another place, basically to the destination. I forget if it was for work or I don't know.
We don't know why, but basically some of their employees had to be on the plane to go somewhere.
Yeah, 4. So United Airlines gets over the intercom and they say, hey, we need 4 seats. If 4 people could volunteer, we'll give you $400 and we'll reaccommodate you with another flight. Nobody stood up. Then they raised it to $800, which we'll get into, like, sort of pricing thing. And nobody still took it, so they just randomly chose 4 people. 3 people got up and were very compliant, and the last person, this was a doctor by the name of David Dow, right?
Yeah, that was his name, David Dow.
He was not, I guess, compliant, and they had to drag him off. The video is sort of graphic, so I guess... Warning, I personally don't really like hearing people sort of scream like that. That was sort of bone shaking for me, just in general. He ended up actually getting back on the plane in the video. But but I actually don't know if he was allowed to be on the plane forever. So I guess what I want to do is I sort of want to tackle each individual part. I want to more focus on the video and then the statement afterwards. So basically, like the events, and sort of talk about each event. Does that work for you? Or
Yeah, no, that works.
so if you want to start, like basically them, like I guess like what I'm asking is like, how do you feel about them selling more tickets than are available?
As far as that particular issue, I mean,
Because you've flown a lot. Have you ever encountered that where people are asked to leave?
I never encountered that. I mean, maybe I have, but I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
To be honest, because a lot of those trips I really didn't want to remember. Because it's just hell being in airports and on planes for 36 hours straight.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes more. But basically, as far as like selling more tickets than there should be seats, I have to say I understand why they do that, because they want to make their money's worth. They don't want to just not have seats get sold. But I also think that doesn't that, I guess, create more problems than are really necessary?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. It's like
this whole problem, for example, like, I mean, they lost a lot more money from this problem than they have by not selling a few seats, you know?
Exactly. I mean, like, I understand the mindset. I do, from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
But also, from a consumer standpoint, I paid for my ticket for this flight. I planned for this flight. I paid money for this flight. I was here on time. So, for you to then ask me to get off and then give me money, which I want to talk about next, I don't think that's necessarily right. I didn't pay to get taken off the plane. I do understand that as a business, you know, they have the right to take people off their plane. It's their plane, you know, so they have that right. Whether you paid or not, that doesn't really make a difference, you know. They have that right as a company.
They do have the right to kick you off the plane, but I mean, I think there may not be a legal right for this, but I do think there is a right that you should get what you pay for, you know.
Yeah.
If you bought a ticket and there was nothing telling you that you wouldn't be able to get on that plane, you've done everything right, but you buy the ticket and it's overbooked and someone has to leave for whatever reason, and you did everything properly, that's just not right.
Yeah. It's not fair. I think the saddest thing is that there's law that lets them do this. Like there's literal law that lets them do this. In the YouTube video description of the one we're going to link you guys, they say in the description that the U.S. Department of Transportation launched an inquiry into the incident, and then New Jersey Governor Chris Christie called for new rules to curb the airline practice of overbooking flights. So I think that's sort of good that people are getting, you know, there's something coming out of this other than just sort of backlash for a company, like actual legal stuff. In terms of the money, this particular flight I think was like only like $100, right? So they're getting quadruple the money and they're getting put on an extra flight, and still they didn't, like, nobody took that $400 deal. So I guess so what do you sort of think about the money aspect of it being offered $400 then $800? Would you take that? And that's $800 per seat too. So they're paying out what, like $2,000?
I mean, I think offering money for the seat is completely fine. But saying you have to give up your seat whether you want to or not, to make it easier, we'll give you some money.
Yeah.
But we don't care whether you take the money or not.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting off the damn plane.
We're taking 4 people. It doesn't matter if you take the money or not. We're just trying to be nice at this point.
I think those are two different things. Even if I okay, I guess what I'm trying to say, like that doctor, for example, the situation he was supposedly in, now, I don't really have any way to know this for sure, but what they're saying is that he had some patients that he had to get back to the next day, and that's why he was on the flight. And so if I were in a situation like that and I was being kicked off the flight, I mean, if it means my job or people I care about, their lives, or something along those lines, you could offer me $10 million and I'm not going to get off the damn plane because I need to be on that flight.
Yeah. So then I'd like to move on to, I guess, sort of his reaction. Personally, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I personally think he sort of is overreacting. I don't really think he needs to be screaming. If you look at the video, the reason why he's bloodied is because when they pull him out, he actually gets, like, basically he over launches and it hits his face or his teeth on the seat next to him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw that, but he like hit his head, and that's when he starts to be quiet. It was once he was in pain.
Yeah.
But before that, when they're dragging him, he's screaming bloody murder. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary, but at the same time, it's also kind of hard to really know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Maybe for him and the situation he was in, like what he had to do when he got back, why he was on the flight, maybe for him that's a reasonable thing because, I don't know, let's say my mother was in the hospital.
Yeah.
She's gonna die tomorrow probably. And so I'm getting on a plane so I can go see her.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said you have to get off the plane and I'm never going to see my mother again. I'm going to be screaming pretty violently because I don't want to leave the plane.
I just sort of feel like he was causing more of an issue by screaming bloody murder and like someone was beating him up and killing him because they weren't really killing him. I mean, they were being pretty forceful, but not to the extent where he needs to be screaming in fear of his life and then we'll get to this, but and then coming back and saying, just kill me. I think that's a huge overreaction. I understand that it's probably traumatic. I get that, and I sympathize, but...
It probably is an overreaction. I have to say, though, that I think to an extent, the police didn't really act the way they should have. Because if the man's bleeding because he had to get off a plane...
Stop. I would say stop. You know, stop doing what you're doing. If he's bloody now, okay. Let's take a step back and let's retry this.
Yeah, that's not right. Especially, like, it would be a different story if he didn't pay for the ticket. He somehow snuck in and got on the plane. Right? Yeah, then pull him out. Yeah. But if he paid for the ticket, he did nothing wrong. He just got unlucky and got the short straw and had to leave the plane. And you go to the extent to where he's bleeding, even though that wasn't the intent of the officers, it was an accident. Still, it shouldn't reach that level in a situation like this. It should have been avoidable. I know from, for those of you who don't know, I have a little bit of a inside perspective on law enforcement. I'm a police explorer. I'm a campus safety officer. So I'm by no means an expert, but I do have a little bit of insight. I do get that as an officer, you're basically just told this guy's got to leave the plane. If he's refusing to peacefully, then you have to do it forcefully. I get that, but in this situation, it shouldn't have come to him bleeding and him getting actually physically hurt. Even if it was an accident, the risk shouldn't be there of him getting hurt. It's just too much.
And, like, do you think that maybe after he's screaming like that, do you think that it would have been better if they just chose someone else? Or do you think that because he was screaming and they're like, okay, fine, whatever, dude. And would that leave someone else to do the same thing and then we'd have even more issue? Like, do you think that they should have followed through even though he was screaming like that? Or do you think it would have been better to sort of just be like, okay, whatever, guy, whatever, keep your seat?
Well, if you said, okay, whatever... and then pulled someone else and forced them to leave, that person's going to be like, what the hell?
I know, I'm not saying literally whatever, but like, fine, take your seat.
I would say if the plane was already going to be there for a while and they had time, right? If they had time, I don't know, maybe they didn't have enough time to deal with all this. But if they had time, give it more time before you get to that level.
Yeah.
There should be a lot of time between actually getting to that level and pulling the guy off. Now, there may have been that much time, I have to be honest. The video and none of the articles really say that. But in the end, if it's just a guy who had to get off the plane, he's posing no threat, he paid for a ticket, there should be no scenario where he leaves that plane having been forced out. Dragged out, forced out, and being injured. Yeah. There should be no scenario where that...
And then how does he get back onto the plane?
I have no clue.
We'll get to that part, but I want to ask you now about the bystanders. You know, I think a lot of people are really focusing on the one lady who's screaming like, oh my God, how could you... What are you doing to him? And I understand that, but if you sort of think like everybody just sort of sitting in their seat, and I can understand why, but everybody's just sort of like videotaping and recording this while this dude is basically getting dragged in sort of forcefully.
Yeah, the one lady screaming, saying, "Oh my God, how are you doing?" Shut up.
Shut up.
You're not help. You're just making the situation worse. You're just heightening tension and everything. Don't do that. If you do have a problem with how it's going, I would recommend just confronting the officers, being, ask them like, why did you have to do this?
How come no one volunteered during this is happening? Like, okay, someone, I got it, fine. Just take your seat, bro. I'll get off the plane, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I bet I don't know. I guess some people, they just really didn't want to give up their seat. I don't really know why. Maybe $800 wasn't worth it to them.
Yeah.
But
I want to know if those 3 people that they randomly pulled off, if they still got compensation in terms of money. Or if, like, you didn't take the volunteer deal, so now that we randomly pulled you off, you don't get anything.
I don't know, but if United did that, they are...
That pissed me off.
I want to use words that I can't use right now.
So last thing, and then we'll get to sort of their response, because I really feel that that's really important. He somehow gets back onto the plane, and he's like running, like, I have to go home. Running like almost as if now there's blood like leaking down his chin and stuff, almost as if he fought his way off, fought his way like Jackie Chan back onto the plane, and now he's like holding on to the curtain, like, just kill me.
Yeah.
Just kill. What do you
Just kill
mean,
me.
just kill me, dude?
Yeah, I don't know what really he had to go to, but I guess it was super important to him. But
apparently not if he says just kill me.
yeah, well, maybe, because if it's that important, maybe like the consequences of missing it are so bad that he's like, just kill me. If I have to miss it, just kill me.
I think the just kill me again, that just creeps everybody else on the plane. Like, there are some people just sitting on the opposite end of the plane, hearing all of this going down and looking over their shoulder, right? And they're just like, oh my God, can I just freaking get home, you know?
Yeah, that's what some people...
And this guy's bloody face runs back on the plane, just kill me. Just, what do you mean just kill you? Like, we didn't even punch you, we didn't beat you or nothing. You, like, hit your head, that was it.
And
just kill me.
There's always the one guy on the flight, too, who just... And now, maybe... This situation, the guy may have been warranted, we don't know. But in my experience, there's always the one guy in the flight who flips out for whatever reason. It'll be someone because they don't get a drink they want, or they don't get the seat they want. Someone always flips out. It's just part of flying.
Last thing I would like to touch on is Oscar Munoz, or I don't know how you say it. Munoz. I want to talk about his sort of response, because he has 2 responses. The first one was just a Twitter post, right? Because most of the heat is coming from Twitter. A lot of the stuff, it's trending. People are getting tweeted like at Delta Airlines and stuff. And Delta Airlines posts a response, and it says, "This is an upsetting event to all of us here at United. I apologize for having to reaccommodate these customers. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with our authorities and conduct our own detailed review of what happened. We are also reaching out to this passenger to talk to him directly for further address and to resolve the situation." Oscar Munoz, CEO. What people are really ticked off about is the fact that he says, "I apologize for having to reaccommodate these customers."
Okay, now the person...
Okay.
There's a guy, the Twitter name of Siege Tank Gaming, who's also been posted on the whose Twitter post is in this article, and he says, "This response by @United CEO sounds like a teenager response to an insult. I'm gonna reaccommodate your face with my fist."
Yeah.
And another person says, "Nice to know reaccommodate on United now means drag you violently out of your seat." I don't like it when people act like that. Yes, the guy, and do you guys know that, if you guys know that scene in Airplane where they're shaking that one girl who's freaking out and they have the line of the bats? Yeah. Someone said, "We'll reaccommodate you next," and posted that scene up there.
I think like the memes that have come off of this has probably been the funniest part. I mean,
the memes are...
I sent you the SpongeBob one. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, like Old Man Jenkins or whatever. Yeah. They're standing around with their fists up.
People.
But basically, I guess the point I'm trying to say is, yeah, the CEO obviously doesn't give a flying poop. For lack of a better term.
Wow.
But also, I don't like it when people use those really like kind of passive aggressive or posts on Twitter, because I think it just gets people angry and it doesn't help anything. It just makes stuff worse.
Yeah, by you sort of making a passive aggressive sort of comment. I'm okay with general memes, like they're like, I mean, as
memes are different
with a millennial, like stuff you see on iFunny and stuff. I'm okay with those, but these are people. The tweets are coming from people who are verified and stuff, and. If you're not like on Twitter, which you should follow us if you are, but just a random plug. But if you are, you know that people that have the tick next to their name, they're sort of respected and they have a lot of followers. They're an important person. And so I don't really like when important people with the tick are making sly comments like that. I don't really feel like that's necessary.
I mean, maybe it's nice for them because they get more like notoriety or whatever, but I think it's pretty immature to just give a really passive aggressive comment. Be like, ha ha ha, I'm so smart, because,
He released that Twitter statement. That was on Monday. The following day, on Tuesday, he posted, there's one on their website. And this is sort of a 2-paragraph thing. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph. I'll link it. But in this one, he's definitely more... he's definitely talked to his PR team. Definitely. He's like, this is a truly horrific event that occurred on the flight. We're outraged, anger, and disappointments. He says, I want you to know that we take full responsibility and we will work to make it right. There has been a comment from David's lawyers, the person that was dragged off, and he said that they will be seeking medical compensation and stuff like that. I think that's justified.
Yeah, definitely justified for that.
Their stock went down like a lot, but it's since recovered. I'm really eager to sort of see where planes go, because we've already talked about planes, and planes is like one of the biggest places. I would say it's the biggest place to where don't do anything wrong. Just sort of show up, do what you're supposed to do, and then leave, because it's already such a controversial and I guess hectic place, and things like this just escalated,
Yep.
And so I'm really interested in seeing sort of if anything actually comes about this, or if this is just like sort of the Pepsi thing where after a few days of trending, it's over.
Yeah, it could be. Honestly, if I had to bet, it's probably just going to be like the Pepsi thing that we covered last week. In a few days, no one's going to care.
Yeah. I mean, like, the memes will still keep coming, but we've already seen some. But I think nobody really cares about the Pepsi thing. But this one in particular sort of deals with laws and legislation. The Pepsi thing didn't really deal with that. That was just sort of social. So I want to know if... if there's any legal stuff that comes out of it. Our president really hasn't, President Trump, I haven't seen anything from him. Is this a big enough event to sort of warrant him saying something? Is that sort of something that he would do? I'm eager to sort of see that. So if something really big happens, I guess we might cover it in like a sort of small. We've been thinking about doing, I guess, sort of recap. Well, I'm sorry. I'm talking about this live. I haven't really... talk to Alex about it, but I want to think about doing like, I guess, like a recap show or follow-up show, which is basically like a 15-minute. It's not a full-length show, like 5 to 10 minute show where we basically do, if there's any follow-up to what we've already talked about.
Oh yeah, do a follow-up show. Yeah.
So it's not like a full-length show to where it needs to be 20 to 30 minutes, but it's basically like a 5 minute.
but just a quick little cover-up. Yeah, I'd be down for that. And if you guys are listening, leave us a comment. Tell us what you would think about that.
Yeah, so that really depends on if there's actual stuff to cover.
Yeah.
We want to thank, you got anything more?
I think I'm pretty much good. We'll leave the rest for discussion. If any of you guys have something to add, send it to us. We will reply back. You can email us, leave a comment. But other than that, I'm good.
Great. We want to thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have been amazing with support on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, that's fantastic. We really appreciate it. But if you could also go to iTunes or Google Play, wherever you can get the app, and leave a review and also download the episodes, that all helps us, and really iTunes is where the biggest place people are going to see us. However, if you are on YouTube, hitting that subscribe button, sharing it on Facebook or Twitter, those are also really helpful. And then also, of course, just joining in the comments. We really appreciate everybody who's leaving a lot of comments. That really makes our day seeing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and email.
And email us
too. That's nice.
If it's a little bit more private, you can just go to our website, middlemindedsight.wordpress.com. There's a little contact page, and then you can submit an email right there.
We also have a Facebook page, so go like that.
Yes, all of our links are in the description. And then if you're watching it on iTunes, you can just click our site, and it should be on there. But with that being said, all that kind of stuff out of the way, thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next Friday.
Have a good one.